describes in one of his books where he used to chant in, I think he used to chant in 4 sections. He used to chant 1/4 of his rounds early in the morning on rising. Then he used to chant 1/4 before breakfast, 1/4 before lunch, and 1/4 before evening milk prasadam. So you can do that. I used to do that when I was doing my Harinam retreat in Hawaii. I used to chant 16 rounds first thing in the morning. By then it would usually be sunrise or close to sunrise. Then I would go for a walk, and I would chant some on the walk. And then after that I would finish the next 16 rounds. Then I would cook lunch, have lunch, chant another 16 rounds. Or usually I'd take some time, some free time. And then down towards the end of the afternoon, once the day starts to cool down a little bit, I would chant another 16 rounds and then 16 rounds at night. That's a nice way to do it.
Question from Bruce. From what platform are the anarthas dealt with? Is it on the goodness or the transcendental platform?
Are the what?
The anarthas.
Anarthas?
Yeah.
Anarthas are material.
He said the reason I asked this question is because of Lord Brahma's lust for his daughter, and Lord Brahma is a great devotee in the form of Haridas Thakur.
Yeah, well, sometimes because of his service, because of his association with the mode of passion, Lord Brahma, has a bad day. But that doesn't mean that he's not a pure devotee or that he's not complete in wisdom. See, sometimes he acts, like when he stole Krishna's calves and cowherd boys. He acts like he's a little dumb, Is this really Krishna? But, you have to understand that Brahma's work, because it's involved with the mode of passion, it is involved with the illusion of this material world. The nature of the illusion of the material world is described very nicely in this Buddhist scripture called Madhyamaka. And it's also described in Sankhya philosophy. That the things that exist in this material world appear to have independent existence. But actually they don't. Nothing that exists in this material world is independent. Everything that exists in this world is a result of some previous cause. And that cause is also a result of some previous cause. And on, back to the original cause, which is Krishna. You see? So there's not even the jiva actually has a completely independent existence. Because without the Lord and his tatashta shakti, the jivas wouldn't exist. So the jivas are not the cause either. They're the result of the tatashta shakti, the marginal potency of the Lord. So the nature of the illusion is that we think we have some independent existence. Like we think, oh yeah, I can go anywhere I want and do whatever I like, and I can think whatever I like and feel whatever I like. That's what we think. But especially in the conditioned stage of consciousness, we are influenced at every step by the modes of material nature, our karma, and the circumstances that we find ourselves in the material world. So actually we have no freedom. Our freedom is also illusory in this material world. The freedom that we have, Prabhupada describes this very nicely in his books. The freedom that we have is to choose between our spiritual identity and our material identity. Between being conditioned and being liberated. Between material existence and the spiritual existence. After that, everything is the will of the Lord. One way or the other. So that's really the only independence we have. Am I going to look toward the material world, or am I going to look toward the Lord? Am I going to look out through the senses at this material existence, or am I going to look inward through consciousness to the root, the Lord himself? That's our independence. Everything else is programmed from that point. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. Any other question?
Not on your. I have a question
Okay.
about your trip to the US and a possible Janmashtami program and like that.
Can you speak up a little bit? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah, I had a question about the Janmashtami plan in New Jersey or New York, like that. You mentioned that we won't be getting anyone that we don't know. What about if the students know people? Can they bring them, or is it just among our esoteric?
I would rather that we just keep it among those who are already our students.
Okay. And should they try and organize some kind of local preaching program or not?
Not necessary.
Okay.
I mean, if they want to preach locally, we encourage that very much. But they should be the preachers. You know? I'm like getting tired of this. I'm not like, if you know, other devotees are going to start political games and stuff like that, it's like it takes all the fun out of it for me. See, but what happens? You know how mushrooms grow? It's very interesting. A mushroom, when it pops up out of the ground, this is the final stage of its reproductive cycle. And when the umbrella opens, there are millions of spores coming out. And just recently I read a study, it's very interesting. These spores, there's an ejection mechanism that like, poing! It's like a little spring that opens up and flings the spores out at 100 miles an hour into the air. Yeah. So the spores are like going all over the place. So when a spore lands on somewhere where there's the right conditions, food, temperature, moisture, etc., it sprouts and it begins to create this stuff called mycelium. And mycelium are like these very, very thin hairs or fibers of mushroom. And the mushroom, the cells in the mycelium and in the mushroom are exactly the same. But they take a different form depending on whether the mushroom is sexually mature. Very interesting how a mushroom grows. So if you have mushrooms coming up, you see, and you can see the mushrooms. Well, let's say that you don't like mushrooms. You want to get rid of the mushrooms in your yard. Okay? You have some mushrooms coming up in your lawn or whatever like that. And you don't like them. You consider them like weeds. And you want to get rid of them. So when the mushrooms come up, then you put some, poison or something on it. Try to stop it. But what most people don't understand is that by the time you see the mushroom, it's too late. By the time you see the mushroom has put out millions of tiny spores, invisible to the naked eye, and they're going everywhere, born on the wind, and these little springy mechanisms that like, launch them off into space, and like this. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's already too late. The mushroom has already reproduced. Okay? And yeah, you can kill that particular colony. But then it's just going to sprout up again somewhere else. And usually multiple places, you see. So yeah, you can, you can stop me from preaching. Or you can stop, certain individuals from preaching. But it's too late. because it's visible to you, that means the spores have already gone out. You see, the seeds have already gone out. The successor is already named and known and primed and ready to go. It's too late. You can't stop it. You could nuke this place right now and our lineage would go on. It's too late. So, that's why I said my mission is already complete. I could stop preaching right now, never say another word, and guess what? This lineage would still go on, unbroken. Of course, the next phase may take a long time. The mycelium may have to grow through